going to talk about one of the problems that we're trying to deal with, people who love birds are trying to deal with at the present time, and that is the problem of birds flying into windows. And I'm going to begin by the downside, and then we'll go to the upside. I think that's the best way to do it, because there definitely is an upside. In 2013, bird scientists across Canada got together and they tried to summarize all the effects of humans on birds. This is the effect of traffic, of pipelines, of transmission lines, of cats, and everything else. And they published in 2013 a major study of these so-called anthropogenic fatalities of birds. And one of the problems we're addressing right now is this problem of birds being killed by building. And it's mostly glass. Mostly the birds fly into the glass, and we'll take a look at that. And the range of estimates, the scientists came up with very broad ranges of estimates using data from all sorts of different sources. For birds being killed by flying into windows, the range of estimates is huge. It's between 16 million and 42 million birds per year are killed that way. And within that range, they reckoned about the best single figure was 25 million. So we're talking about a deficit of about 25 million birds a year. And then another surprising thing is that of those collisions that kill 25 million birds, 90% of them occur at houses. So if we want to reduce these figures, obviously the best thing to address is the collisions that occur at houses. Only about 10% occurred at other low-rise buildings, at other buildings that are not high, that are commercial buildings or garages and things like that. And only less than 1% at high-rise buildings. We often think that high-rise buildings kill a lot of birds, but in fact they don't. Why don't they? There's not that many high-rise buildings compared to the number of houses. In Canada, it was estimated by these people that there are 10 million houses. So, if we take just a tenth of that, if we manage to save one bird for every one house in 10, we would be saving 1 million birds a year. So that it's well worth trying to address the problems. And there's some of the data, just for comparative purposes. That's just a quick look at the fact that most of our bird populations are showing some declines. The one to look at here that's most relevant is settled areas. This is including the cities where there are most of the houses. The declines have been as much as 35% since 1970. So we're tending to lose our birds. And it's time to put a stop to those losses. And the main problem, as I mentioned, is glass. And I think the way to approach this, if you live in a house or you have friends who live in a house, that's not a house rather than a condo or something like that, is to try and understand why the birds collide with the window. And if you understand how the bird is thinking, you've got to learn to think like a bird. If you understand how the bird sees these things, then you can begin to figure out ways and means of reducing the hazard to them. So one of the big problems is that glass is invisible. The birds are totally unfamiliar with it. They don't expect it to be there. They don't see it. Human beings are a bit the same way. Have you ever once tended to walk into the side of a bus shelter that was completely clean, plastic stuff or whatever they make them on? People walk into glass doors occasionally, and nowadays people put marks on bus shelters and glass doors so that we don't walk into them. But it's the same problem. The other problem with glass that doesn't really affect human beings is that glass reflects. And I'll show you an example of how it reflects very realistically. And the bird will see what is a window, but then see the reflection and they'll try to get to that reflection as it represents habitat or water or something like that, and they'll fly straight to the window. Another point to bear in mind is that birds will go very readily through small spaces. They're used to flying through trees and bushes, dodging the branches, and going through what I think of as being almost tunnels. And sometimes our houses, from one window to another as well, can be seen as a tunnel, and the birds will try to fly through the house in one window and out the next, not realizing, of course, that there's glass in there. And another thing that's important, fairly obviously, is the number of birds in any given locality. And unfortunately, one of the things that affects the number of birds is feeders. And those of us who have feeders out in our backyards attract a lot of birds. And the mortality of birds at houses with feeders is much greater than at houses without feeders. So in trying to help the birds by putting out feeders, you've got to be really careful that you're not also attracting them to comply with your windows. So let's just look at some of these hazards. These are some new houses that have been built. Can you see the glass up there that's going around? Those posts are all holding up a glass wall that's around the patio on the top of that house. And just imagine a bird going up and trying to fly over that house. It's not going to see the glass there and will smash straight into it. Glass balconies, you can see here. You can see right through the glass. A bird trying to cut the corner around that house is probably going to fly into the glass as well. Dark glass might help a little bit. It's more obvious that there is some glass there. And one of the main attractants sometimes is if there is a plant on a balcony, what you can't tell. Can you tell whether there's glass there or whether there's glass there? In this case, the glass is here and ends at the railing there. But a bird isn't going to know that. A bird is likely to fly in here and it's trying to get to the plant. So plants beside the glass on balconies just attract the bird. Fly straight into the glass. This is what we need. Instead of glass balconies, we need railings or something that will stop the birds flying into them. Opaque glass is a good solution as well. If you put something on the glass, you can even paint it. Or some glass that they're making now is more opaque, and that can be used. And this is what we have to do, is to put something on the windows that let the birds know that the glass is there. And this is an example from the Fatal Light Awareness People program in Toronto. This is what they're calling an ineffective application. This is a decal on a window. This is the window, and obviously that's the decal. The birds will see the decal there. They'll avoid it, and so they'll fly into the glass somewhere else. So to avoid that, this is what you would need to do if you were trying to use decal to protect the birds from the window. You'd need to have so many of them on the window that there wasn't enough space in between them for the birds to try and fly through. And that's obviously a little bit impractical, but there are other things we can do. This is one very, very easy thing to do. This is a window in my house, and I simply took the corner of a bar of soap, white soap, and drew squiggles down the glass. And the squiggles are about 10 centimetres apart, which is not quite the wingspan of the birds. And so the birds tend not to fly through those. Sorry, it was my fault. I missed out this illustration up here. This looks like a chickadee flying through a space. And you'll see that a 4-inch space or 10 centimetre space here would be insufficient for it to fly through. And similarly, a 2-inch space here, which is 5 centimetres, would be insufficient for it to fly through. So the spaces have got to be narrower than 4 inches wide or 10 centimetres wide and 5 centimetres high. Here's something else you can do, and that is you can purchase thin strips of a sort of film kind of material that you can stick on your windows, and they've got black dots on them, a bit less than 2 inches apart. If you put those dots all over your window, the bird will see the dots. You can pick out the dots. The tree and the car and everything are out in the street, but these little squares that you see are on the window, and that's enough so that the birds will see them and not fly into the window. So you don't need to completely blank your windows out or anything like that. And this is what they did with one of my basement windows. This is a window beside a place where I feed the birds. Under a rhododendron in my backyard, I just throw the seeds down on the ground for the juncos, and the song sparrows come along there. And the window itself is reflected. You can see some of the things reflecting it, some of the trees and things up here. So I simply I wanted something that would let me divide the window up into small spaces. And the spider's web seems to be the ideal thing to do that, because most of these spaces, some of them might be a little bit too large, but I put some butterflies or something in there. And as far as I know, since I did, well, I haven't had all that many collisions here, but since I did that, there's been absolutely no sign of any collisions with that particular window. For feeders, one potential solution is that you either put feeders very, very close to the window, so that if a bird suddenly starts to fly away from it, it can't get enough speed to hurt itself before it hits the window, or else you put the feeders a very long way away from the window. These are different distances of feeders from the windows, and these are the number of fatalities that happen. So you get a lot of fatalities when the feeders are a long way away, very few fatalities when the feeders are close by. But it's not always easy to put your feeders right next to the window, and you want them fairly close because you want to see the birds. And so these things that I'm talking about, like putting soap squiggles on your windows so the birds can see them, and other things are important. This is one of the culprits. The last time any birds flew into one of the windows of my house that I'm aware of is when they were startled from the feeder by a cuckoo's hawk diving at them, and the birds just don't think, they just go. And a couple of house finches flew bang bang into the window. Since then, what we've done is fix the window up so the birds are more aware of the fact that it's there. I think the next slide. We've got a little bit of outdoor review. Not to worry. Anyway, we'll come to that one eventually. The other thing that I mentioned that's a problem are the reflections in the window. This photograph is of a reflection. That's not my backyard. That's my kitchen window. And you can see how realistic they are, especially in summer when the light is bright and the colours are all showing up well. This is a deco that was stuck on the window, and that's why it's out of focus. But this is what the birds see, and this is what they try to fly into, not realising that the glass is there. And this is what to do about it. What we did here, again, this is the same kitchen window, you can recognise the same things in the view. We've had lengths of, this is avalanche cord, sort of olive green avalanche cord, hanging down in front of the window. It's held up by a dowel that goes along the top, a 1-inch dowel that my husband drilled holes into. We just put the cord through it and knotted it, and the cord's just hung there in front of the window. And that's enough to let the birds know that there's something there that they can't fly through. These strings are a bit less than the required 10 centimetres apart, and it seems to be very, very effective. You can purchase these things, they're called accordion bird savers, but you can also very easily make them. You don't even need a dowel, you can put a string across the top there, and then just hang some cords from it that go almost down to the bottom of the window. Other things to bear in mind is that in some houses are more susceptible to causing collisions with birds than others. And one kind of window that's not so susceptible is like this one that you see here, where the window is broken up into a series of small panes. You can see the reflections in it, all those grey patches are reflections, but they're in less of a distinctive pattern because they're broken up into separate window panes. And that kind of window is less susceptible to attracting birds than large expanses of glass. Here's a window. There's another window with small panes, diamond-shaped little panes. This window had been decorated by some children, and these are various patterns and things that are actually stuck on the window. And then there's some dangling bunnies up here. That window is so covered with those things that, again, the birds are not going to see it as somewhere that they can fly through. And various kinds of things to consider. Here's a house that has blinds, and the blinds are open, but they're down, and so you can see all the white lines across there. And where the blinds are, you can still see reflections, but the reflections are broken up by the presence of the blinds there. And so that kind of window is less likely to attract birds to fly into it. And then sometimes where there's an awning over a window like this one, so that part of the window is in shadow, that prohibits the birds from flying into it as well. So I think what you have to do is look at your house circumspectly and see where there are reflections that need to be broken up. And usually, to break up a reflection, you put something on the outside of the glass, not on the inside. But it's the outside surface that's doing the reflecting. Picture windows. I don't have a picture of a big window. Picture windows are sometimes a problem as well, because there's a large expanse of glass and the birds will fly into it. But there is a way of even getting around those that this is very obvious. Somebody looking from the street wouldn't realise you had something in front of your window. And that is around the window. Now, this isn't a picture window, but around the window, some people have put a very substantial a wooden frame that's maybe 5 or 6 inches out from the window. And it holds a stretched piece of mesh over it, a little bit like strawberry knitting, but black, and a fairly fine mesh. And the black, fine mesh is virtually invisible to humans, as well as birds. So you say, well, the birds are still going to fly into it. Well, they are, but they're going to bounce off like a trampoline. If you put a taut piece of black mesh over there, maybe it's a 1/4 inch mesh or something like that, it would protect the window from birds. And there's a well-known woman who's a bird photographer. She takes pictures actually through the black mesh, so it doesn't inhibit your view out at all. In fact, most of these things, when you install them, the cords on the window, for example, you notice them when you first put them up, obviously, but after a while you get so used to them, you don't notice they're there. And these things like cords in front of the window are easily taken down as well, or you can wipe off your soap squiggles. If you've got guests coming that you think are going to want to look out of the windows, you can get rid of some things fairly easily and then put them back once the visit is over. Well, just a little bit about tall buildings. This is meant to be a tall building, apartment building or business building with lights. And this is meant to be the vegetation down at ground level. One thing that saves a lot of birds from colliding due to lights, they can become disoriented, but it's not a major problem very often, is that the birds are down here where the vegetation is. The birds don't usually go very high above the local trees and bushes, so that this, about maybe 1 or 2 floors up above the tops of the trees, is about the limit as to where you'll find birds. And so the windows down here and the balconies that have glass railings and so on will be vulnerable to causing collisions, but the places up here will be much less vulnerable. The problem with lights is that they disorient the birds, and the birds will fly, perhaps being attracted to the light, become disoriented. This is what happens in Toronto. This happened in Toronto or not, because Toronto is on a major flyway. When the birds are migrating, they fly across Lake Ontario and into the city, become totally disoriented by all the lights. And so they've actually, not just the windows, but they'll fly into the building walls as well, or any object that's in the way. And there have been a lot of bird deaths because of that. Some of you may have picked up the brochure. It's from the people who adopted this fatal light awareness program. And now a lot of the lights on the high rises in Toronto are turned off at night to save this massive toll on the birds. So I thought I would just mention that. But in our areas, mostly it's the houses that are the problem. So if you can take some of those brochures home, pass them on to if you know a neighbour or a friend who has a problem with birds colliding with their windows, pass them on and see what we can do to spread the word. What's next? Even bus shelters. This is a bus shelter. And the sides, as I mentioned earlier on, are totally transparent. This is a dead bird, a version of this bird, on the ground that you couldn't see because it was so transparent and it just flew into the glass and died. And that sort of reminds me to say that some species of birds, like that, well, thrushes in general, this being a varied thrush, seem to be more susceptible to flying into windows than other species of birds, but we don't know very much about that yet. If anybody is interested in helping with this, Bird Studies Canada, with people down at the office in Alaska, have a project whereby they simply want people to report any birds that collide with their house. You can just phone in or email in the situation, and once they get an update, they can begin to look at the kinds of houses that cause most of the collisions. So you can become a volunteer helping with this program if you would like to. And I think that's what that is. Sources of information. So do what you can to help our birds. And if you're thinking, goodness, I can't put those things all over my window, or how do I reach up to put those cords? Even if you do just one little thing, it will help. Even if you just put one sticker on your window, it's better than none. Although it won't be totally effective. So if you could just do a very modest attempt at protecting windows and protecting birds, please do so. Thank you.